Hey guys, it's Amira. Welcome back. If you're new to my channel, I'm a graphic designer who's obsessed with building brand identities and a lot of other cool stuff too. In the previous episode, we brainstormed ideas, designed the logo, and built the brand palette. In this episode, we're doing something a little bit more fun, which is designing some illustrations for the packaging. So let's dive in. So I first started by brainstorming ideas, which was pretty much tough because I couldn't find stock images of the cap positions I wanted to draw. I'm afraid to mess up the proportions, so to save myself from drawing monsters, I usually use reference images. So I headed over to an AI image generator to help me out. I just created an image of one of the ideas I had in mind, which is to draw a cat stealing its food from the kitchen cabinet, extending its body towards the shelf, reaching out for the bag. But it's sort of funny how I was afraid of messing up the proportions, but clearly AI had another distorted perspective of the dimensions in this world. So no, I don't think I'll use it to create references for the rest of the illustration ideas. Now we'll start sketching out the illustrations. I'd rather draw the monsters myself. So I grabbed my tiny sketchbook and I started sketching the ideas I have. First one is a cat stealing its food from the kitchen cabinet. Second one is a little cat peeking into the table and looking keenly at its bowl, extending his arms towards it. I got this idea from that logo concept I created in the previous episode. I'll leave you the link in the description. Third idea is a cat sitting in its bowl where it is, and the fourth one is an illustration of two cats curling over the bowl, and one of them is clearly dominant and a little bit aggressive. Next, we'll start refining these illustrations. So let's head over to Illustrator to start illustrating them. Behind the scenes, I took photos of the four illustrations using my phone, ignore my finger please, and I uploaded it on a new artboard using the place option or by pressing Shift plus Control plus P. You can use a scanner by the way to scan the images and nail the perspective, but I just edited the images manually to avoid the hassle of using my printer. After I rearrange these pics, I'll select them all to lower their opacity a little. Let me slide this down to 60%. Perfect. And then I'll rename this layer as sketches. And we're going to create a new layer and lock the first one, the one at the bottom. In this new layer, I'll go over the sketch, starting with this last buddy. I like to first sketch them using the brush tool at a low opacity just to give myself some space to make any tweaks before creating the final outline using the pen tool. This gives me a little bit of freedom to go beyond the initial sketch and see if there is any way it can look better. Because usually when I'm sketching on paper, I'd be anxious, what if I erase that stroke and the second one made it look worse? So knowing that there is an undo button or working in layers really helps me with this kind of anxiety. This illustration, by the way, is inspired from Instagram Reels. There's this reel of a little cat pushing her entire head and forelegs into a milk bowl like it's gonna make her swallow that whole thing quicker. It was just so adorable, so I thought I could sketch the same concept but with dry food and draw a cat instead of a kitten. Now let's resketch the second concept, and what I love about this illustration is how it can be so relatable. When my cat is waiting for his food, all I can see are two dark dots on his face. I can put up a picture of him somewhere here. His pupils would dilate so much, so I thought I'd depict this by drawing a very minimalist illustration of a cat, and all you can see from his face is his alien eyes. I think this is the most minimalist illustration I've ever drawn, and I kept it simple for a good reason. Now let's jump into the third step, which is outlining these sketches. So I resketched the whole thing and I'm gonna hide that layer that has the images and then lock layer tool that has the outlines. Now using the pen tool, I'll start outlining the sketch. When I'm outlining, I like to keep the stroke weight thin and then increase it after I draw the whole shape. So after I outline the cat's body, I'll make sure to make the whiskers thinner than the main outline stroke. In these illustrations, I want to keep some sort of balance between the quirky style of these illustrations and the imperfections that might render these illustrations as carelessly drawn. Thereby, you will find that when I drew the cat's face, I drew just half of it and then duplicated it, then reflected it to make sure it's symmetrical. I kept the blobbly style of the eyes because it complements the style I'm going for, but for the nose, I drew a triangle for it. For the whiskers too, I'm drawing just one half and I'll replicate it for the left side. I'm using the ellipse tool to draw his pose and then manipulate the anchors in a way that it looks a little flattened on top. I'll duplicate this shape for the rest of his pose by pressing Alt plus Shift as I drag it down. I just noticed that I should have flipped his fingers. It looks so funny. Don't know how long you've been seeing this and wondering if I'm ever gonna fix it. I did. So I'll just click on object, then transform, and then reflect. Perfect. Next up, we have the cat fight illustration, and this one's my favorite. So through these illustrations, you will find the same message being delivered. Posy, the cat food brand we're designing, is so good that cats can even be mischievous just to eat it. In the first illustration, the cat went straight and sat in the bowl because it can't just get enough of it. And in this illustration, that cute playful cat you just saw can just turn aggressive when it comes to Posy. Like, it doesn't want to share its favorite food with anyone. The third concept as well shows a little bit of mischief, how the cat is reaching out to her bowl and peeks cunningly like it's plotting how it's gonna get her a refill. The final concept too is my favorite. I've seen lots of Instagram reels of pet owners filming their cat being busted committing such crimes, and I thought this could be a great way to show how their cats would love Posy that they would steal for it. I personally resonate so much with this one because if I forget to feed my little guy, I'd find him picking his hunting instincts and grabbing his food himself from God knows where. Okay, so I actually did a lot of changes in the cat fight illustration. I changed the head proportions of this big guy. Like you can see here, it was a bit puffy, and after looking at several references of cats tilting their heads downwards, I realized that I gotta slim down his cheeks. Now we're done with the illustration process, but we gotta clean up the outlines, and by that, I mean we'll have to turn these strokes into shapes instead. So you see here, they're all just black strokes, and I'm gonna click on them all and then click on expand appearance. I'll keep them selected and then I'll click on the object tab and then click on expand. Now you can see here the entire outline has now turned into a shape. I'll select the parts that are overlapped and then click on the merge option from the Pathfinder tab. This way you will find the outline flowing continuously as a shape. This makes it way easier later on when we add some color to each illustration using the shape builder tool. And by the way, I'm keeping them as black outlines with no fill just for now, but we'll definitely give them some color when we design the packaging. I could have just done it now, but I want to visualize how the color would go with the packaging background instead. So overall, these are just some illustrations I created. We'll definitely be using them in the next episode as we design the packaging. Please thumbs up this video if you find it helpful. Thank you so much for watching.